just do it. Okay, the next one is the dreamer procrastinator. Well, but first I want to tell you a quick story about the Great Wall of China. Although this monument is actually considered one of the 7 wonders of the world, it wasn't actually envisioned in totality by just one person. It was actually unified and put together by the very first Chinese emperor. So his name is King Shi Huang, and even though he didn't have the idea and the totality of the wall, he did have the idea of unifying it and continue to build. And this process took over 2,000 years to complete. We're talking about over 13,000 miles of walls. But if he didn't have the idea of starting that unification, brick by brick, and he was just having that idea on his head, oh, this is going to be massive and I don't know how to get started. Well, it all started with laying that very first brick, right? So dreamer procrastinators are optimistic. They're always thinking about the big vision, but they struggle in the execution part. So in essence, they get lost in their big ideas and they fail to create the map, the steps necessary to actually get started. Let me tell you something, this is very common. And if you are a big dreamer, I applaud you because I'm a big dreamer as well, but you need to recognize that every single big dream, they started with small execution. So you have to avoid not falling into the trap of being overwhelmed by the amount of tasks that this big dream will have. What's the solution, Rod? You might be asking, right? So you have to start with something that I call SET. It's an acronym, actually, that says smallest executionable task. Start small. That big idea you have, start breaking it down to the very, very tiny particle of a task, because that is progress, okay? So you are removing that big idea from your dream world and you're actually starting to execute very, very small, because this is going to create the least path of resistance, okay? Let's talk about the next one, which is the crisis maker procrastinator. Well, let me tell you something about these individuals.